Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to VB Tutorials 4, or VB Tuts 4. This is going to be my first tutorial for VB.net. I am not going to do anything, I might actually go into some console applications, but mostly I'm going to be working with Windows Form application. So we're going to start off with Hello World. This will be our very first project. This is a very standard kind of program that a lot of people do. What we're going to do is we're going to make our own version of this. We're going to add in a label. I'm going to explain everything in a second. And we're going to add in a button, which is up here. Now, by the way, I'm going to be using mostly either, let's see, there we go. I'm either going to be using Visual Basic 2010 or I'll be using Visual Basic 2012. I like Visual Basic 2010 better, that's just my preference, but it could be whatever you want. A lot of my tutorials will work with either one. Alright, now we have our label and we have our button. Now first thing I want to say, something that may come in handy a little earlier, is when you're coding you always want to change any label or text box or anything. You're going to have a name right here and you're going to have a text. They will be identical when you first create them, and I'm going to show you the difference between them right now. The text is what it actually says in the application. So right now it says click here to say hi. But as you can see up here, the name is still the same. If we go into our code, which all you have to do is go into the code, is you could double click on anything. So let's double click on our form. We're not going to code anything in our form right now. We might, I don't know, but just double click on anything to open up the code. So pretty much, if we start typing click here to say hi, nothing shows up for that. But label 1 does show up. So the name is what's in the code and the text is what your user sees. So whenever you're coding, if anything in the code, if anything in the project is in the code at all, you should probably rename it just so you know what that is. Now our label, in our code that we're going to make in a minute, there's going to be nothing with this label because this is literally just a label. It doesn't mean anything. It shows you a text what to do. Some labels, like you'll see in the next few tutorials, some labels may have some importance, and you may have to change that, like in the calculator we're going to make later, you know, all this stuff. But in this, nothing's going to be coded to that, so we don't need to rename that. The button, though, we are going to be using, so we're going to rename this. Usually when I rename buttons, I do BTN because it's easier than just typing button. So BTN, button hello world. Whenever you're renaming something or something, I usually like to have the first word lowercase and then the next few capitalized, just so you could see the difference between all the different words. Generally try to make it only 2 words, but I just made it 3 just for the circumstances. Click here, and I can make the text click here. Alright, another thing that we could do, the form 1 doesn't really have to be renamed because generally, unless you get really advanced, you're not going to be using more than one form. So the name could stay the same, but we're going to rename the text to Hello World. So you can see up here, it looks a little more official when it's not just form 1. Alright, let's code our button. What we're going to want it to say, so up here you see our private sub. All this gobbledygook, whatever you want to call it, over here doesn't matter. You don't really need to know anything about that. But what you do need to know is this right here. What it says is button hello world underscore click. That pretty much means whatever we put in this area right here, where I'm about to type, is going to happen when we click the button. Pretty simple. Also in future tutorials, you'll see me changing this. This is pretty much just saying different things. So we could say mouse hover. So this means that when the mouse hovers, something will happen. So let me just give you an example. I'm going to do message box, hello world. And so pretty much what this means is a message box will show up, and anything in strings or this red quotation marks, that is just like customized text that you have. This text obviously isn't part of the actual Visual Basic language, but it's something that you create for the project to say. So you see, if we hover our mouse over here, a message box will show up, hello world. That's pretty simple, right? Now, I'm just going to get rid of this entire sub. Now, when you want to delete a sub, let me just warn you right now, I did this a lot when I was first starting. Don't delete the end class, because especially when you're first starting off, you'll be like, because when you delete the end class, you'll start getting errors up here, as you can see, and you'll be like, oh, what's the error? Because you don't really know a lot about that, because Visual Basic really does this stuff for you. And this is the start of the class, and you always have to end everything. Private sub, end sub. Just have to end everything. Now let's code our real hello world. Whatever. We could either do a message box, which I just showed you, so I'm not going to do that. Or what we could do is we could add yet another label. And this will be a label that's actually going to be a part of our code. So I'm gonna make that empty. Nothing. The text is gonna equal nothing. And we're gonna change the auto size to false, so we can kind of resize it a little bit, just like that. Now we're gonna change the name, because this is actually gonna be part of our code. So I'm gonna change it to label hello world. All right. So what we're gonna do is when button hello world is clicked, we're going to have label hello world dot text equal, and then we have the strings again, hello world. Alright, so this is pretty much saying when this is clicked, hello world dot text will equal hello world. Another thing that we could do with our form load, form 1 load means when the actual application is loaded, we can make message box say, welcome to my program, enjoy, something like that. So let's load it up. As you can see, when we load it up, welcome to my program, enjoy, and then our program comes up, and click here, and we have hello world written. Well, congratulations, you just made your first application in Visual Basic. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Expect more soon, and I'll see you guys next time.